Well, good morning, folks. Welcome back to Transplant Helper again today. My name is Jim Merle, and for me at least, it is almost 9 a.m., and that means it is time to make a huge decision, and that concerns what medications I need to take this morning. Yeah, as I talked with you in the last couple of videos about some of the issues I've been having lately, shortness of breath, lightheadedness, dizziness, fatigue, I don't know, just other symptoms, a few heart arrhythmias, a little bit of this and that. I've had extensive testing done, much of which came down to the fact, and I already knew this part, much of which came down to the fact that they think that my heart muscle is a little weak, therefore it's beating more slowly, therefore it's not providing enough oxygenated blood back and forth through the body and the lungs as it should. Therefore, in addition to that, there's a little bit of fluid building up or pulmonary edema in my lungs, making it at times with strenuous exercise and or bending over even more difficult to breathe. And I had an entire video about drug interactions where I think, honestly, I've kind of gotten down to the bottom of the situation. I think I've got some theories that are going to work as far as some medication changes that I can do for myself that will ultimately help me an awful lot. And some of that comes down to the fact that I may drop a drug called omeprazole, which is an antacid slash acid reflux type of drug that I take that I don't need so much, that actually can bring the magnesium levels down. And if you have low magnesium, your symptoms can easily be shortness of breath, lightheadedness, dizziness, fatigue, heart arrhythmias, same exact thing. And my mag has always run on the low side. With the omeprazole on board, it's running a little bit too low. And so I think if I can get my mag up by dropping that drug, we're going to move forward a little bit better. However, my team called yesterday. My coordinator called, as a matter of fact, later on yesterday afternoon at some point, and she told me that she had talked with a doctor. He'd looked over all the tests that I've had, the pulmonary function test, the stress exercise. It was a bicycle test, not a treadmill test, but the cardiac / pulmonary test. That he looked over all that, as well as the heart monitor I wore, the Holter I'd worn for a month. And he determined that he thinks, yes, there is a problem. Yes, the muscle is weak. He doesn't know why, but he thinks that it could come down to a medication change. And so with that said, I thought to myself, okay, well, yeah, we're going to agree on this. We both think there should be a medication change. So I'm basically telling my coordinator, okay, come on with it. Shoot, tell me what he said. His reply was, he said, I think Jim needs to drop, and these are the drugs I got to reach for them. I think Jim needs to drop his DILTIAZEM. And once he does that, tell him to remember that DILTIAZEM is not only a blood pressure / drug that can lower the heart rate, which we need to get his heart rate up. If I get my heart rate up, I'll, have a little more pumping action, perhaps can overcome some of these symptoms. But keep in mind, if he drops the DILTIAZEM, that is a drug that actually helps a lot in a transplant patient to keep his Prograf, tacrolimus, tacrolimus, same thing, I just pronounce it differently, but to keep his Prograf levels up. So anytime you add this, you lower your Prograf dose in order to stop from having a too high Prograf level. Or if you take this away, you've got to raise the Prograf dose in order to maintain that, what they would call maintenance level. For me, my maintenance level right now is about 9. You may be a little bit different. Everyone will be a little bit different in that, but my maintenance level is about 9. And as a matter of fact, for 7 years, and I don't know, we're almost at the 7-year, 11-month mark on this. So almost 8 years. My Prograf level's been perfectly fine. I've had no rejection, no issues there. And I've been doing that by taking the DILTIAZEM along beside it. So he wants to drop the DILTIAZEM and up this and then bring me back in and check my Prograf in 2 weeks. I can't argue with that necessarily. He is my doctor. She is my coordinator. They looked at all my files. They looked things over. They know what they know, and they're making the decision based on what they know, and I completely respect that. I certainly don't want to be non-compliant, but on top of that, I really, be honest here, TBH, I really don't want to adjust anything concerning these anti-rejection drugs, concerning especially this Prograf, because again, I've had no rejection, I've had no problems, and I've taken these 2 drugs now for 7 years and 10, 11 months and not had any issue, okay? So my issues that I have been having over the course of the last 6 months, I don't want to blame this, and I certainly don't want to use this to change anything, but here's what I think is happening. And I'm about to call my coordinator, and we're going to discuss it and find out. I'll talk more about that. Here's what I think is happening. They think that I'm still taking, or that I'm not taking, I should say, metoprolol. Now, metoprolol is a beta blocker that I take generally in the nighttime just because of the way it makes me feel. The metoprolol is a beta blocker. It will definitely lower your blood pressure. It will definitely lower your heart rate. Again, my heart rate is too low. But they think that I've taken this drug away. Because when I came into clinic 2 visits ago, one of the doctors came in and said, I think you need to stop the metoprolol. That'll get your heart rate up and you'll feel better, which probably is true. He said, I think you need to stop it. In a few minutes, my coordinator and he talked out in the hallway, came back in, and he said, well, don't stop it cold turkey. Just cut it in half, take it from 50 milligrams down to 25. And so they think something. I thought they thought, if that makes sense, maybe I'm thinking too much about thinking about them thinking, but I thought that they thought I was dropped it cold turkey because when I checked online, it doesn't show the medication anymore in my portal. So I think that they think that I dropped it. What I've actually done is cut it in half. So what they are under the assumption is that the only medication at this point I am taking that could possibly be contributing to the lower heart rate is the DILTIAZEM. When what they don't know is that because I'm still taking 25 milligrams of metoprolol, these 2 drugs together are what's causing my heart rate to be low. And so here's the conversation I'm about to have, and I'm about to take my medicine. I've got 6 minutes to do all this. But the conversation I'm about to have is I'm going to give a call to my coordinator and say, hey, look, if you guys wanted me off the metoprolol, I somehow didn't get the memo on that. I was stuck with taking 25 milligrams. And, if you want me to take it or don't, I need to know that. But if I'm going to drop it, I think that will be enough to raise my heart rate so we can leave these 2 precious pills, the DILTIAZEM and the Prograf, alone. Because I don't want a chance having to drop the DILTIAZEM, my Prograf level having to be increased, and then potentially me either coming up with a low or a high Prograf level and to go down that road and open myself up to rejection and all other sorts of things, as well as, guess what's going to come with a higher dose of Prograf? The tremors. It's coming back, folks. I don't have them now, but it's coming back if my Prograf level gets up. I don't want to do that. Not if I can simply drop the metoprolol. So why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because there's a few things we need to remind ourselves of. Number one, I say this all the time, you know your body better than anyone. I know my body better than anyone, better than my doctors, better than my coordinators, better than the nurses, better than the staff, better than my spouse, better than my children. I know my body better than anyone, human at least. God knows me better, but I know my body better than anybody on earth. And I can tell when my levels are up and down. That's because of experience. I can tell when I don't feel well, and I can assist. It's not my decision, but I can assist in helping to make decisions on what medications I take, how I take them, when I take them. Not mine to just go out and do. Don't start swapping meds because you decided you needed to. Don't start changing the way that you take a medication because, hey, you thought it'd be good, not without your doctor's approval, which is what I'm about to attempt to get. But the thing is, we've got to communicate. We've got to communicate. You see, the truth is, the facts are here, to be honest, is I saw the metoprolol come off of my hospital's web portal a few weeks ago. I saw it come off, but I continue to take it. And what I should have done is see it come off and then call them and say, hey, we had a discussion about me dropping it. We had a discussion about me cutting it in half. I've been cutting it in half. Was I supposed to drop it? I should have had that conversation weeks ago. I didn't do it. I kept rolling because I was feeling a little better and it was working. I didn't do it that way. So we got to communicate. So communicate. You tell your doctors how you feel. You tell them, and sometimes you need to write this stuff down. I've been doing that. You keep a record of how you're feeling, what medications you took. If there have been any adjustments that they've helped you to adjust and guided you through, you write down, okay, I feel this way today. I changed this, and now I feel that way. Keep a record of that, because that's what they're really going to work off of. If they have limited information, they'll be able to give limited advice. They can only know what you shared with them to know. Let me say that again. They can only know what they know based on what you shared with them to know. If you're not telling them everything, if you're not revealing to them everything, the latest updates, how are they going to make a decision? I think my doctor was standing with my coordinator in the hall, looked at all my tests up on a computer screen. He looked down my medication list. Only drug he saw that could be lowering my heart rate is the DILTIAZEM. And he immediately said, well, I don't know what else to do to get his heart rate up. Tell him to drop the DILTIAZEM, but tell him to be cautious and watch his Prograf level, because he's going to have to go up on it to keep the level in his bloodstream that we want to maintain, which is that 9. When all the while he doesn't know I'm still taking a medication that's causing my heart rate to be low, and probably the combination of those 2 medications are causing my heart rate to be too low, and we need to pick the worst of the 2, or the best. How you say that? I can't say that. The lesser. Well, let's pick the lesser of the 2 evils. And in my case, I think we'll drop the metoprolol, but keep the other 2, just so we can keep the status quo that we've kept now for 7 years, 10, 11 months. And I can keep being healthy. But how am I going to do that? I'm fixing to call. I'm going to talk to my coordinator on the phone, going to get her on the phone. I'm going to run through what I've just told you. I'm going to say, hey, look, what should I do? And I can almost guarantee you that when they know what I'm sharing with them, they're going to say, yeah, you're right. You need to drop this one, metoprolol, before you drop that one, DILTIAZEM, and give us a week and we'll see what we got. And then we'll coast along, and hopefully I continue to improve. I have been feeling good the last couple of days, basically doing the medications like I assumed I was supposed to and like I've decided to do. But you don't need to do that every day. You need to keep good record. And you know your body better than anyone, but you need to be communicating with your doctor. Again, they only know what they know based on what you told them, so they can know, okay, what you let them know. Thank you so much, folks, and stay stronger.